In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Want to join my free gift card giveaway? Subscribe to my channel, like the video, and turn notifications on. And finally, tell me in the comment section below that you subscribe.
What's going on, everybody? It's Paul Crowforge, and today I'm going to teach you what not to do in PvP. This really applies for all levels. I didn't, these aren't tips that I made up. I'm just throwing it out there. These are pretty much well known. So yeah, let's get right into it. The first thing you want to make sure you're never going to do is use traps. Traps are good for questing or other forms of whatever, but for PvP, you don't really want to use them. Why? Because, well, it's really a waste if they're just going to shield. And, you don't really want to use them because you can blade, and traps are really only, they're just not good for PvP. So, our next thing we're going to never want to use, if you are a balance, like I am, you never want to use this spell because it's really pointless. I mean, unless you're like a really low level and you want Power Pip, which I don't understand why you would, because it affects them too. They get more Power Pip percent chance. So that's why you're going to never want to use that. If you are level 100 plus, you are never going to want to use spells such as Shadow Seraph or Dark Fiend, I guess. I mean, you really want to use Shrike in 1v1. This is for a Jade strat, This is not meant for 1v1. It's really meant for 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. Shrike is really meant for 1v1 or any of them. You can use them in any form of PvP. But yeah, you just never want to do that. Another thing you never want to do is use spells without a mastery. If you don't have a life mastery, for example, but you have life spells, it will take up, say you have 4 power pips and you want to use Luminous Weaver, it will use all 4 of those power pips. That's something you never want to do because you need pips in PvP to win. So just make sure, if you are using a secondary school in your PvP, to not ever, don't ever not carry a mastery is what I'm saying. Just always carry a mastery if you're going to do secondary schools PvP. And a lot of you are probably like, well, I mean, that's kind of obvious. Why would you want to do that? Well, some people don't know. I've faced people certainly once before who don't really carry a mastery. I don't know if they've forgotten it, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Also, if you are a high level, take for example, I'll say probably like level like 60 and above, probably. I mean, I guess it could be like 70 and above, something like that. You don't really want to use a secondary school for PvP, just because damage does start to take a toll in higher level PvP, and usually you only get damage with your gear for your specific school. So that's why you just never want to use secondary schools as a higher level, because you don't. I'd say, like, take for example, I only have 36 damage to life, and I could use a Luminous Weaver, or I could use a Lore Master, but because I have 102 damage for balance, like, why would I use that? It just doesn't make sense. What else is there? I mean, I guess that's really about it. Secondary schools. Another I guess, you don't want to use these, but another thing you never want to do, this is our last one, I believe. I can't really think of any more at the top of my head. Didn't really prepare anything. Another thing you never want to do is use weaknesses and other forms, such as Virulent Plague, in PvP. You just don't, in a 1v1, you just don't want to do that, because why waste 3 pips? You know, it kind of goes along with the whole pip thing about using secondary schools. You just don't want to use weaknesses that take up a pip. Like, for example, some people use Virulent Plague on me, but they use 3 of their pips, and it's, you know, I could just use a 1 to get that off. It's really kind of pointless. Trying to see if I have any other weaknesses, like, in, like, Plague. No, I don't believe I do. And it's going to do it for this video. If you have any other tips or what not to do in PvP comments, you can always leave them in the comments below. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video, and have a good day.